Adrian Ciszewski, I'm a creative director at TechRun, working on Dying Light 2.
So what are you guys showing here at E3 with Dying Light 2?
Yeah, that's our new game. Yeah,
That was an old game.
yeah, it's a sequel to the Dying Light, so.
That's super fast because you guys just released Bad Blood a few months ago, and now you guys released a new game. You guys are really busy.
Yeah, actually, the different team is doing the Dying Light Bad Blood. It's actually a rather spin-off, not so much connected with Dying Light itself. Yeah. Besides the world, the universe, and the zombies, the weapons, the rest of the things are just brand new, not connected to the first game.
So this takes place 15 years after Dying Light 2. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so it's obvious that people will learn about how to survive with infected living in the city. So they much more like, okay, we understand the zombies, we understand they're living there, the shelters like dark zones, they walking around, but we need to kind of live further and forward. Yeah, so they build houses, they build facilities to survive. So it's different than Dying Light 1 when it was just happened like a few months ago or a few weeks ago. Yeah, so it's not that fresh. So because of that, it's more human game. And as I mentioned before, it's not like there are no zombies, no infected. They are there. They're just degenerate, we call them, because it's to create a bigger difference between day and night. And sometimes there are not so many of them, but it's all because of the people that are living in this part of the city. In the other part of the city, maybe there are no factions living there, so there'll be more infected walking, roaming through the streets, because that's kind of obvious that they clear the streets to be more safe, yeah, and in the places they're living. Yeah.
So spoilers, in this universe, it doesn't look like they found a cure after the first game.
Yeah, they didn't find a cure. Yeah.
So talk about a little about this living. You guys are introducing a living dynamic world where your choices impact the city. Talk a little about that.
That's a great improvement. I mean, the new element that wasn't actually present in the first game. Well, the idea was kind of simple. Idea was simple, but the system is super complicated. We thought after playing the first Dying Light 1, even in the middle of the production, we found out that it's like a bit odd that you're playing in the open world. You have a lot of big agency, a lot of options how to kill the zombie, how to pass through the city. The parkour was like I can go everywhere. So basically, because of that, you felt like that's your game, yeah. And then you jump into the train with Kyle Crane's sign and move through the story and have no chances to move like left, turn right, stop. So it was his story. So sometimes his choices were not so much connected with your way of thinking. Yeah. So we thought that it's natural step to add this choices and consequences to the sequel. But later on we found out that we have the action game. So having this heavy like adventure games, narrative elements with choices and consequences, a lot of readings, it may slow down our game. So we had an idea, and together with Chris Avalon for like last 2 years, we've been working hard on a design for choices and consequences. We found out that our choices and consequences is actually the sandbox, narrative sandbox. And this is cool because it's like gameplay. You know the rules, you know the rules, you know that what's the relation between this faction, or this guy, and you can use it to create your own version of the world. It's like a Lego bricks, you know. You want to build your mini version of your house, have a bricks, this can connect it with this one, this connected with this one, and then here you have your mini version of your house. The same with the story. So you're learning about the rules and using them.
Talk about how big this map is in comparison to the first Dying Light.
Yeah, it's like 4 times bigger than Dying Light 1 and Dying Light the following together. So it's massive, big world. So that's actually one of the reason why the population of zombies and infected is kind of different, to make sure that it's not that repetitive. Sometimes you see the place there are no zombies because people they're living in it's kind of secured location, and sometimes it's a really big problem for you. So because of the size of the city, that's also working cool for the players.
What are some of the challenges when focusing more on a human villain epidemic than the infected? Because zombies are really stupid and fun to kill, but humans can be prove a lot more challenging.
Yeah, the humans. Actually, it's all connected with the combat itself. It's not like we switch the combat to the combat with humans because it's tougher. It's a different combat even against the this infected. You know, if you're fighting with infected, it's also a bit different than in the first game. We are much more focused on the action part of the experience, not like in the first game we were very much focused on an RPG element, like a better weapon. You need to find a better weapon, better crafting pods to kill the zombies because of the damage factor of your weapon. Here is also important to create a new weapon, to give new functions to your weapon, new things that will create a new openings on the fight, or a bigger window to create a critical strike. So our combat is much more tactical right now. You need to observe the enemy, find the right spot to attack, and it's deeper and more satisfying because of that. Because if all of those elements during the fight will happen like the moment and time, right timing, and you find the weakest spot of the enemy and trigger a drop kick that was perfect in the first game, you'll be rewarded better than Dying Light 1.
Can you talk about some of the? You guys some really cool weapon mods in the first game. Can you talk about some of the new ones that are coming? Some of the old ones that are coming back, as well as new ones in your sequel.
Yeah. It's like all of the pillars of the first game, like parkour, combat, day-night cycle. They will all improve in the way of creating bigger agency for the player, so more freedom. And if we're talking about pillar, which is melee combat, it's connected with supporting features like crafting, as you mentioned before. So all of the crafting things we've done for the Dying Light 2 are supporting this main idea about creating more options, not just giving additional effect that created more damage, but also new options to fight with new opportunities, as I mentioned before. So it's much more a part of the tactics strategy during the combat.
So when does the game come out, and what platforms will it be on?
2019. Right now we're thinking about Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and PC.
Any plans for Nintendo Switch?
It hasn't been decided yet.